In the summer of 1582, Japan's most powerful warlord was killed in the most intimate way possible, not by an enemy, but by one of his own generals. Within mere hours, the political order of Japan, that was just beginning to stabilize after centuries collapsed, the man responsible, Akechi Mitsuhide. Okay, let's rewind. Japan in the 16th century was far from unified. Many warring domains constantly clashed viciously. Regional warlords, Daimyo, dominated Japan's political landscape. In the Sengoku period, loyalty didn't lie with birthplace or patriotic values, but with money. Samurai acted as mercenaries, fighting for various warlords, pledging allegiance to none. Their loyalty was fluid and pragmatic. If the paycheck stopped, you could expect to see your own men fighting for your rival before you even knew what happened. This began to change with the introduction of one man, Oda Nobunaga, the great unifier of Japan. Nobunaga was the leader of the Oda clan, a samurai family. Oda Nobunaga began his great conquest of Japan in the 1560s after defeating the Imagawa clan. However, Nobunaga didn't expand through traditional conquest. He preferred a system of complete disruption. He utilized arquebus firearms, chose mass infantry coordination over elite-only combat, and prioritized disciplined formations and logistics. This style of warfare was completely unheard of during this time. Nobunaga not only revolutionized Japanese warfare, but took it by storm. Nobunaga defeated many major daimyo clans, such as the Asakura clan, Azai clan, and Takeda clan, severely weakened. However, Nobunaga didn't stop with Japanese clans. He conducted mass assaults on Buddhist militant orders, burning down the Buddhist temple in Ryakuji in 1571. However, Nobunaga wasn't just a ruthless conqueror. He also built stable economic systems in his conquered lands, turning them into prosperous assets. He did this by supporting free markets in castle towns, amongst other reforms. By the late 1570s to 1582, Nobunaga was at his peak, controlling central Japan, Kyoto, and had limited rival powers left. He was the strongest military power in Japan. Do note, he didn't fully unify Japan, as there were other smaller powers still in power on the island. There was just one problem. He relied on loyalty through fear and success. The system he controlled was institutional rather than personal. The turning point happened in 1582, when Nobunaga was at Honnō-ji Temple in Kyoto. Nobunaga's forces were stationed elsewhere because he was on a campaign of consolidation. He definitely didn't expect what was to come. A 13,000 to 18,000 strong force, led by Akechi Mitsuhide, attacked the temple, which was lightly guarded by a few dozen to a few hundred of Nobunaga's troops. First, Mitsuhide surrounded the temple and cut off all escape routes. He then proceeded to close the encirclement tighter and promptly defeated the handful of personal guards belonging to Nobunaga. Whilst this was unfolding, Nobunaga's heir, Nobutada, was attacked at Nijo Palace. The two attacks quickly decapitated the center of the Oda leadership. Nobunaga is thought to have locked himself inside the temple and to have committed seppuku, ritual suicide. Mitsuhide's forces then set the temple ablaze, and Nobunaga's body was never recovered. The fact that the body was never recovered also added a mythological aspect to Nobunaga's death, with rumors speculating that he escaped, though this is heavily doubted by historians. The attack succeeded due to many reasons. However, the most important one was that Nobunaga never expected the attack, especially not from Mitsuhide, who was one of his most trusted generals. The immediate aftermath of the coup was one of the fastest and most chaotic political collapses of all time, unfolding not in months, but in mere days. The news of Nobunaga's death reaches Kyoto, and all authority within the capital collapses almost immediately. However, now Mitsuhide faces a major problem, the question of authority. With both Nobunaga and Nobutada's deaths, the region now had no leadership. If Mitsuhide wanted to grasp power, he had little to no time to waste. He doesn't have real legitimacy or a broad alliance network. He does have an army, though, so he quickly moves in to try to claim legitimate authority, issuing proclamations en masse. He also tries to gain support from court nobles in the capital by presenting the coup as restoration of order. Unfortunately for Akechi Mitsuhide, the other daimyo don't accept these moves, nor do the court nobles. The population are against him. Toyotomi Hideyoshi, who was campaigning far away, received news of the deaths of Nobunaga and Nobutada, and within mere hours, he negotiated a rapid peace treaty with the Mori clan, with whom he was at war. However, with Nobunaga's death, the realm was in distress. Allied generals hesitated or went independent, rival clans reassessed alliances, and regions returned to self-rule. Importantly, the system doesn't fully collapse. It just fragments internally, unsure of what is happening. Within about 10 days, Hideyoshi's army reaches the Kyoto region. The army forces Mitsuhide into open confrontation, and battles rage near Yamazaki, southwest of Kyoto. Mitsuhide's forces are outnumbered more than 2 to 1, with little to no supply, and were totally isolated. There is one hope here. His forces assume position near Tenozan, a hilly terrain, which gave Mitsuhide the high ground advantage. However, Hideyoshi saw a weakness in this move. In Sengoku warfare, battles were usually decided based on whether all 4 of the following are present: supply, morale, initiative, and reinforcement routes. Mitsuhide lacked all 4 of these. To make the situation even worse for Mitsuhide, Hideyoshi's scouts saw the high ground and quickly alerted the main army, who moved and took it before Mitsuhide could fully consolidate it. Now Mitsuhide had to move to the ridge between the hill and the hill opposite. He was now fighting an uphill battle, whilst outnumbered with inferior troops and lacking morale. It becomes a massacre, and Hideyoshi's army obliterates the rebels. After the defeat, Mitsuhide fled, and was likely killed by bandits or small groups of pursuing forces, slightly afterwards. Instead of ending, Nobunaga's coalition becomes united under Hideyoshi, and their reforms continue: centralization, disarmament policies. Paradoxically, the coup actually further advanced and accelerated the unification rather than reversing it. And in doing so, Mitsuhide became not the new ruler of Japan, but the spark that allowed another man, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, to finish what Oda Nobunaga started.